Okay, so now we're setting up. It says preparing, but we're probably live.
Yeah, I just got a notification.
Okay. Okay, yay.
Yay.
Oh, we're live.
We're live.
Yay. Hi, everybody. Welcome into Energy Upgrade Feng Shui Tips. I'm Lisa Albin. I am a Feng Shui consultant and master trainer. And I have a special guest with me here today, Miss Nicole Simpson. Nicole, I'll let you share about who you are and why you're here today, and then we'll get started in the energy upgrade session.
Perfect. So yeah, my name's Nicole, and I have been asked by Lisa to be a part of the energy upgrade. So I'm super grateful for her and for all of you watching. I'm a spiritual life coach. So by spiritual, I seek to understand the relationship between us as human beings and the universe. And I help you discover who your true self truly is so that you can be in greater alignment to cultivate better self-love, more compassion, and step into your true life purpose.
And thank you, Nicole. And that's so beautiful. Yeah. And so can you tell us a little bit before we get started too, why do you feel this calling to show up and serve in the way that you are?
Sure. So from a very young age, I always had intuitive downloads. I had feelings of picking up on the energetic fields of others more intensely than others would describe to me. And I kind of repressed that side of myself as I got into my teenage years and my early 20s because it wasn't as accepted. So I decided to go and become a dental hygienist. And through that job, I discovered I was very unhappy with doing the same thing every day. But the one thing that I was happy doing was helping all my patients through multiple things that they would tell me, whether it's divorce or trauma. I just had that natural aura where people would open up to me. And I had multiple patients joke and say, oh, you're my therapist or you're my life coach. And so I took that and I ran with it. And I decided to use my life experience and the traumas that I faced and what really brought me into a greater state of alignment and healing to take that as life lessons and blessings that I could now help turn into healing for the collective. So that's what got me into doing what I do.
Beautiful. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thanks again. And everyone, if you're just tuning in, I'll let you get settled. We are live. So if you're watching us live, drop us a comment, say hello.
Yeah,
we'd love to hear from you. Yes. If you're catching us on the replay, the energy that you're receiving is just the same with your intention. You can ask us questions. I'll be sure to include information on how you can get in touch with us, myself and Nicole. And so we'll get you all set up there. And certainly this should be a very transformative session. We will be holding our usual energy upgrade right now for the collective. And whenever you receive this message, it's for the exact right time for you. If you're new to my channel, welcome. This is a process that I developed during COVID. So much like Nicole's story, answered a calling, found something that worked for myself, and now I'm practicing it on a larger level. After I've been honing this over a few years. And so if you want to go down the rabbit hole and see if the past lessons resonate with you, I encourage you to do so. There may be messages for you that are meeting you at the exact right time. 100%. Please make sure that you're fully hydrated. So have your favorite beverage nearby. I encourage you to have a brand new black ink pen if you have one, or a pen so you can take notes. We are going to be writing down a mantra. If you have a candle nearby, or a bell, if you want to have tinjas or whatever you can to just really get into and setting your intentions right now. And that can be done in any number of ways. You could even clap if you want. To get that chi going in between us. We are going to be sharing some energy. So I thank you, those who are returning as well. I appreciate your comments and your liking and sharing and subscribing with me in these energy upgrade sessions. That's what keeps me going and helps me to fine tune this process. All right, so I'm going to ask of the ancient I Ching first. I've just lit my candle with intention to connect with all of you watching with us and participating. And we're going to be divining of the ancient I Ching, which is the book of changes. It's the ancient book at the foundation of Feng Shui. And it is an environmental study of sorts that tells us the journey of all of the life elements, the earthly elements, and how nature interacts with itself, with adversities, with opportunities. And through examining the earthly elements, we're able to understand our own patterns. And we know that we know that very well, right, Nicole? That
we do that.
Yeah. The only constant is change. And
very true.
You're gonna ride out all the cycles and seasons of life. Woo, things are already jumping out right now.
Woohoo! The
Just
energy
curious to
is
see what that
flowing.
would be. You're going to be riding out the ups and downs of life. So whether you have a goal in mind that is a huge life goal, or perhaps you're looking for your life calling, or perhaps it's something a little more fine-tuned and you want to know what are your next steps in a relationship, in a career, in obtaining a goal or desire that you have, I ask that you write it down right now on your piece of paper and hold it in vision. If you have any intentional steps that you're working towards, you can write those below it. Hold that in mind as I'm doing this divination. That way you can keep it in mind as I'm reading the insights, and will give you some clarity and certainly some next steps and some ease on the process. And then Nicole and I will be having some lovely chats in between, because we also have some goals and intentions in mind too.
Sure. We do. That we do.
Yeah, we do. And Nicole, like while I'm divining of the ancient I Ching, do you want to tell everybody watching how we met and when we met, and how we got to where we are today?
Yeah. So you probably could not tell, but Lisa and I met like 2 weeks ago. So we both live in the same city, St. Petersburg, Florida. And I was on Instagram looking for different communities and groups that related to my area. Part of discovering who I was understanding that I needed to be involved within a community. So I stumbled across this group that is here and resonates in St. Petersburg called St. Pete Girl Boss. And they get all the female entrepreneurs together. And it's really such a way to empower others and network. And I met Lisa through there. What did I do? I made a post. And
you made a welcome post, I think.
I did. And
no, it was a funny comment. It was the comment was someone had a prompt, and the prompt was, if you got kidnapped, like what would the kidnappers kick you out of the car for, or something?
Yeah, what would they kick you out of the car because you couldn't stop talking about? I think that's what it was. And I said astrology and like human design and chakras, and Lisa said something back, and I said, oh, she's like, I would keep you, or I don't remember, something similar. And so then we just started talking, and it was so natural. And now I just feel like I've known her forever. Not to mention, she loves her jean jacket just as much as I do.
Yay!
So it's our security blanket. So yeah, so that's how we met.
It's like, what is the sisterhood of the traveling pants? So we're like
sisterhood. It's usually pants.
Yeah, we could.
But now we're gonna do jackets. It's totally true. And so she's like, we get each other, but she's kind of the more like calm, I feel like, energy in the voice. And then I'm like, I can't stop talking half the time, and I'm a little louder. But
I love that though. That gives me energy. I need that, like the yin, the yang to my yin.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the yang to my yin. And while we are talking, I'm going to pull up and get started our emotional aura frequency calibration. And I did share this with you a little bit earlier, Nicole, but for those watching at home, everyone who's watching this recording or live with us today, and don't be afraid to shout out and say hi if you're tuning in. We are going to be pulling on our emotional aura, our collective emotional aura, and see what is lingering. So this is going to be pulling from all the levels of our awareness and consciousness. And the overlying issue that's coming up in a big way is disallowed life to flow freely. So whatever this might mean to you, you can think about it within your own, whatever, if it resonates. If it doesn't, you might even say, well, this reminds me of a lyric in a song that I just heard, because we do collect energies, and when we don't even realize it, It could even be from a phone call with a friend or something of that nature. But the impact of anything that's not harmonized in our emotional aura is, if you can imagine like a nice, pretty bubble. We'll come back to this screen in a second. If you can imagine a nice, pretty like bubble around all of us, which there is, and some people can see them. I'm one of them included.
Yeah.
That this bubble, it gets impermeations. And so when we get impermeations from stress, from, even just bad words or negativity in any way, even if we're laughing it off, it will cause a tiny tear, rip, just a weak spot in our emotional aura. So when we're out and about throughout our day, that's when we might start to feel that leak. So that drain of energy or even pressure, or things that we start attracting in negativity. It's certainly not a condition like my mentor says, Dr. Miriam says to me, if you're operating under stress, then your aura is like a wiffle ball or a Swiss cheese, and you don't want to go out in the world with Swiss cheese aura, especially if you are going out and about and you're like hanging around a bar or something. Because guests are in bars or even graveyards, if you think about it to that extent, you're leaving yourself open to negativity to attach to you. And certainly if you are an open-centered person or someone that is an empath, someone that's picking up on other people's energy, you would be even more sensitive to this. So in this process, what we're doing is restoring our emotional aura around us to a place that will make it stronger and less likely to even be susceptible to negativity and that stress. So underlying the umbrella of disallowed life to flow freely is taking abuse rather than leaving, and that's within the family realm. Cinderella syndrome, perhaps that's relating to waiting for the prince to rescue, and it's not gender specific, but just that energy. Standing up against her bullying and tyranny, and then chronic gamblers. So we're going to go ahead, make sure you're taking deep breaths, you're fully hydrated while this session's happening, and then we're going to dive into that I Ching reading. I'll come back to this.
Super exciting.
Yeah. So some people, feel different things throughout this process. It is, this software does work on an energetic level if you understand electromagnetic fields and how people have sensitivities to EMF, where they pick up on the negativities. So there are those negative fields where we're like, oh, stay away from electronics. I get headaches or, whatever. I'm not particularly that sensitive to that, but I have clients who are. And that's important in Feng Shui to be aware of the electronics. But if there's a bad, there's a good to it as well. So the developers of the software learned that this software has been developed with all positive intentions, with all, everyone who has touched it is in a modality of health and healing. And it is working through the quantum entanglement theory. So anyone who's watching live or on the replay is exchanging energy. There is no timeline restriction here. So what it's doing is, with everyone's permission who's watching, it is restoring the emotional aura, and it will give us some really interesting words to ponder, I'm sure, from this. So what I asked of the ancient I Ching and divine dove is, what do we need to know? What does the collective need to know? Everyone watching the energy upgrade right now, what do we need to know in order to move forward with clarity and ease towards our goals that we have in mind right now? And what it resulted in very quickly, and a lot of things were jumping out, is the energy of lake above and thunder below, which is hexagram number 17. And it talks about the energy of following. So lake above, thunder below, and I'm using cards today. They're from Paul O'Brien's deck, but you can use coins, certainly. You can use reeds, but this energy of following is interesting. I'm going to dive into it a little bit more, but the headline is choosing to follow good influences brings supreme success.
I love that.
So we're shifting into an energy, and it could be rather quickly, We see here, let me see how many change lines there are. So there's a lot of change going on. So I very unstable energy from the divine into the human earthly realm. So there's 4 change lines. So we're going to be shifting and transforming rather quickly into the energy of the wanderer, hexagram 56, which is one of my favorite energies to talk about. And I've not seen this combination in particular, but let's dive in and get a sense. So keep in mind your goal, whether it is business, relationships, life path, journey. And as I read this, we're going to read between the lines with our intention and come together with some really clear pictures on what we should be doing moving forward. So it says, in the human realm, when a person of vision undertakes a challenge, they must sometimes change direction in the course of events. Oh my gosh, wait. Before we had this live session right now, Nicole, do you remember our mantra? I am adaptable.
I am adaptable.
Yeah, so this is a collective energy, this need for adaptability. And all of you who are watching with us right now and participating, so this vision that you have is a great challenge. And be prepared. Be prepared to be flexible and adaptable at this time. When these changes result from sincere communication with those of different opinions, good fortune will follow. So this vision that you have is not potentially one that everyone's going to jump on the bus very easily toward. Right. Even if this is a one-on-one interpersonal, this is one where you're going to need some really good, clear communication. And I have a feeling, Nicole, like write that down, because communication, I feel like is something we need to talk a lot about here. So sincere, authentic communication. This is not putting on pretenses, because we're talking to people who might have completely different opinions than what your vision is. But your vision is one that could and should happen. But care must be taken not to be swayed by current opinions. So it sounds like you're swimming against the grain, where with this vision that we have, that you've written down in your paper, it's against the grain, and it's going to be easy to be swayed by the masses. But carry your convictions out into the crowd, stay open to the idea of others, but hold your ground on matters of integrity. So you don't need to change who you are. You don't need to pretty yourself up or make yourself more appealing to anyone. Stick to your integrity and your vision and what you have. If this is something that you need the masses, okay, you know, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. Actually, it could be very challenging on a small scale too, but regardless, you're working with people here and communicating through a difference of opinions, but don't thwart your authenticity. It says,
I love that, Lisa.
Yeah. Did anything come to mind when I was saying that initially?
Oh, totally. For me, you know, specifically, especially talking about subjects that are a little bit innovative and out there, and, you know, something that not everybody is able to jump on board with, you know, right away, because it involves change and society's not used to that quite yet. So it's being able to communicate in an effective way that people understand, but still getting your point across and being open to, you know, the opinions of others, but also keeping true to who you are. So that resonated with me. So hopefully someone else out there feels that too.
Oh, pretty cool. That's like beautifully said too. It feels like, you know, if you're forcibly trying to get a bunch of people to get on your train of thought, like get on the bus with me, I know what's right. They might get on the bus with you and be super disgruntled, and that's not the energy that you want. Like whether that's one person or a large mass of people, in terms of whatever goal it is that's written down. It says, as you move through life, opportunities arise to develop associations with powerful, distinguished, honorable people. Associating with them brings good fortune, but each new connection with someone of valuable influence may require an equal and opposite diminishing of a relationship you have with someone of lesser influence. That's interesting.
Yeah.
The strong of heart leave behind what is superficial and accept the challenge of developing better relationships. So that's
super interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting, especially as you're talking about finding your people in your business in the entrepreneurial world and sense. And it doesn't mean like burn all road bridges, like light a match and burn them all down, but it maybe means like a drifting and a pulling away of relationships that may not be a right fit at this time for where you are in the goal. It goes further on in the upper heavenly realms to talk about setting a compass towards what is beautiful and true, and have confidence in your intuition. And it talks like paints a picture of sailing out into a beautiful glistening sea. That perseverance, perseverance furthers and good fortune follows.
Love that.
That's a beautiful, from the heavens and divine is that, I just picture like whatever anyone's belief mindset is, like your higher self or angels and spirit guides or whatever your belief is, God knows that you're on this beautiful path and is probably like sitting up there eating popcorn, watching you. like you got this. Yeah, you got this. Yeah, like it's going to be beautiful and maintain and support that beauty. Yeah. And so lastly, it's time to seek the counsel of someone wiser and more experienced than you are. Be receptive to advice from a person you respect and make the proper adjustments. If the person agrees to work actively on your behalf of your cause or enterprise, supreme good fortune will result. Another possibility is that through understanding and respect, you will be joined by a follower who forms a supportive bond with you.
I love that.
So it really is like a life journey vibe.
Yeah.
I think
I just got this like rush of cool air.
Really?
It came over me. Yeah, I did. And so that was really interesting. It's like spirits here.
Yeah.
I feel those things. That's really cool. I love it.
Yes, I love that. I love that you're feeling more, open and, a lot of, goosebumps happening over my
my gosh.
But even just with our discussions over coffee today.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So any last energies? I'm looking through my other Feng Shui notes and the I Ching book by R.L. Wing, which is more of a workbook. I want to see how this relates to personal relationships, because I'm getting a lot of entrepreneurial business kind of vibes here, community vibes, but it's talking about trying to be flexible in your social and personal relationships. And if necessary, subordinate yourself. It is correct to adapt to the situation presented now, for this is the only way there will be favorable progress. So some compromise. Don't waste your energy struggling. Instead, make your relationships as rewarding as possible by adapting yourself to the current mood. So that's the energy of following, is talking a lot about adaptation. Yeah. So I cannot even believe that our mantra is, I am adaptable.
I know. That's just
the energy.
That's the power of the collective and us, and it's really cool.
So this is a really beautiful, important message. And a lot of people may be change makers and thought leaders out there today watching. And so your goals may be big, you may feel isolated, but by bending, you won't break. And by remaining flexible, you're going to gain the confidence of people around you. And so the circumstances are going to be in great flux. We know there's a great changing energy here. All right, so before we go any further, I did hear the tones on our emotional frequency calibration, and I'm just curious what it says.
Yeah.
Okay, so it says, I show grace under pressure. And that goes hand in hand with being adaptable, right? With all this.
Absolutely. And that's not easy to do all the time. So that's a great one.
Yes. You may feel like we're crumbling on the inside, but just really, exhibiting that energy of grace under pressure is going to be really useful. Right. So those who are participating, I encourage you to write this down, take a screenshot so you can write down later in cursive to integrate it further into all the levels of your awareness and consciousness. I show grace under pressure. Now you can put this, a tip is to put this on a Post-it note. You can put it on your desktop, your laptop, a door that you walk by several times a day, and really let this message integrate into all the levels of your awareness to help you restore your emotional aura frequency. And so now a lot of work has been done very effectively, very succinctly in this quick session. So here, you know, right now this live is happening on a Friday. You can go out and about in the world and throughout your weekend and feel a little more whole and less susceptible to negativity. But whenever you find this message, it's the perfect time for you. We are shifting into the energy of the wanderer, which I really love, in this energy of trying to make changes and trying to get some people to gather into your cause or what your vision is, whether it's one person or several. And the energy of the wanderer, I don't even have to like read it because I get this so often. This traveling energy, it's like the most important thing, if you think about it, when, let's just imagine going, not a lot of people have done that this year, but getting out of the country and going somewhere where you are the guest and getting into that energy of, hey, I'm the guest. I don't even speak your language 100%, but I'm going to come to you very humbly, and I want to be accepted into your, I think of Anthony or Bourdain all the time. Like, I think the picture should be on this.
That's so funny.
The wanderer. Because the story and the energy of it's like Anthony Bourdain, because he is the wanderer, and you know, I know he's like probably watching us all right now, but the idea of like going someplace unknown and just putting it out there, like, hey, I'm new here, I want to learn about you. Will you accept me into your home? Will you share a meal with me around the table? But being very like getting on an equal ground with the newness. So we don't have to travel to a new country, but this is a newness. Whatever our goal is a newness. And to be able to merge with the desired outcome, we need to show up humble, as if we're that guest, as if we're Anthony Bourdain and we're about to like try to sit around with his grandma. You know, and like be a little bit on guard, you know, a little bit, because you don't know what's behind the eyes of the people who are welcoming you in, or the energy. So you want to be safe in this. So be a little bit protected, but be your authentic true self in this, and pay close attention to what others, their customs are, and honor them. So again, not trying to directly change someone into your way of thinking, but really seeing them for where they are on their journey, and try to understand a little bit, be respectful, you know, definitely like not to like, and not that any of us would do that, but as we're trying to sway others or one or several people into coming together with us in this goal, the terrible thing would be to preach at them, like, you know, what, you know what they need to do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I wrote down a few notes while I was divining of things that were coming to mind. I think I'm like most pleased about the Anthony Bourdain imagery, but Nicole, I think you having your background in life coaching and spiritual life coaching and also human design, do you have any tips that are coming to mind, or ways that people from your life experience and wisdom can become better communicators, especially with this great big goal that they wrote down?
Yeah, I think the way we can become better communicators. So our communication is all in our throat chakra, right? So I work with the chakras, and obviously human design, which incorporates the chakras in the body graph. And depending if we have an open throat or a closed throat, it can be harder to communicate, harder to get our point across. So I would say to, you know, have a professional or have someone who can help you kind of look at those parts of your chart and see, you know, which way am I supposed to be communicating? What's the best form of communication for me? Because some are different from everybody else, right? So I think society teaches us all that this is the best way to do this. This is the best way to do this, but we're all so different. So I would tell you to stop looking at it in comparison to other people, and to really go on that journey of self-discovery and understanding what's authentic to you. would be the best way to go about communication.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And
Yeah, that
that-
makes sense.
that's interesting too. Like we keep having the throat chakra come up. I am going to share something with everybody while we're talking about this section. I normally don't do in this forum, but since we're talking about chakras, there is a way that we can work to bring our chakras back into balance. And I would love if you have any. I know we're learning more and more every day, but certainly, Nicole, if you have any insights, from what I understand and what I've been taught about our chakra are the different colors and frequencies within each, and each chakra resonates at a different frequency and has its own spin.
Yep, it's like a little wheel. Yep.
Like a little wheel, right? And sometimes we can contaminate our chakras, or they're not fully vibrating. So we could have a little bit of the wrong color in a chakra, or it slows down, or it's just not, it's not filling up with energy.
You can have an overabundant amount of energy there. You can have not as much energy, and both of those differences brings on different health manifestations, different parts of your personality. A lot of the times when you have a blocked throat chakra, that can be, maybe people have put you down in life, or you've just had trouble expressing who you really are, which can lead to thyroid problems, chronic bronchitis quite often. So a lot of times our areas that are blocked, if we look at where we're having health problems in our bodies, that's a good indicator. So
I love that. Yeah, there is a book that I read a while ago, and now I can't think of the name, but about how our soul expresses weaknesses, or even mental challenges or trauma is expressed through our bodies if it's ignored too much. I think it's called We Can Heal Ourselves. Is it called We Can Heal Ourselves, Louise Hay? Or something
sounds familiar, but I mean, that's totally true. A little quick story, I had, when I was learning all about the chakras and I was doing my own, work on myself before I really started coaching clients, I had, horrible menstrual cycles, and they thought I had endometriosis. They couldn't diagnose it because I didn't want to go through with the surgery. And when I started, focusing on that sacral chakra and what blocked it in the first place, and I learned how to balance it, heal it, I hardly suffer from any pain anymore. So that's been a big change in my life. So we really can heal ourselves. Women get breast cancer more often than men because we tend to be overabundant with our energy in that heart. Men tend to close off a bit, which causes the heart attacks in the men. So very interesting.
That is really interesting. Yeah, I love that perspective. So what this aura scanner is doing now is strengthening where we had weaknesses. And so this is doing some restoring in an effective, fast way, faster than if I were to spiritually dowse or a Reiki session. So again, just making sure we're fully hydrated while we're receiving this energy. And it's interesting to see where there were some we were a little bit behind in some, there certainly throat chakra being one of them. And I love this covers even chakras on the aura level that I was not even aware of until a couple of years ago. So it's getting up into the template realm, which you work in a bit with human design.
Oh yeah, human design, we talk about the 7 chakras, right? But human design even talks about the spleen center and, the will. And so there's actually a lot of chakras, thousands of them, but we really only focus on a select few. But yeah, human design talks about all that stuff as well. So
yeah, I love that. And it's important work to check in. And they say put your your whatever's going to save your life, put that on first, whether you're in a plane or getting into water before you try to save someone else. But
I love that.
It's we need to be able to restore our own energy before we can go out and do all of the work towards our goals and towards serving others and our businesses or our families.
Yeah, and they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first.
Yeah,
and that's exactly why.
Yeah. Yeah. So, getting into practices like this and other practices where you can get back into your place of alignment and being grounded before you're showing up, before you're pouring in any energy into what your work is
Yeah.
really important, because I have a feeling whatever anybody wrote down on their piece of paper is a big deal to them
Yeah.
right now. And if you are rushing your way to get there and trying to manipulate situations to work out better in your favor, what the I Ching is telling us, instead of doing all the work, is work on the communication and getting into that energy of being humble and honest about who you are and why you are showing up and why you want to learn. And so I have a feeling that what part of it is, it's going to be a challenge, could be perceived as a challenging conversation, but come to it with an open mind and meeting, your person that you're talking to or the group of people from where they're ready to receive the information.
Right.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And I know, like, we felt like this great calling too in wanting to combine our modalities together and
100%.
like really show up in a way that we can help. And also I think would help us too. We always learn when we're when we're working with others as well.
Yeah.
I think there's a great opportunity to combine a lot of our practices together and see how we can show up and help others, especially now when this energy is so unstable.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think the things that we do, that's part of what brought us together, because they're different, but they complement each other. And so to be able to combine that and offer something that's different from anything else is amazing. And that's how revolutions are made, right? And humanity can be changed one step at a time. So
yeah. Revolution was a word that came up earlier this week too, in another meeting. There's no accidents, right? It's so it's been a big theme of so I'd say since COVID, the big theme has been around finding your helpful people energy, your collaborators. Other big themes have been around being authentic, so really finding out what ignites your inner flame and your purpose. And you have some great ways that you're able to identify within others and help guide them towards marrying up their lives with their purpose through your work, right?
Yeah. A lot of the times clients come to me and, not all of them are familiar with what I do or with spirituality. And so, some people say, well, my life purpose, what is it that makes me money? Or what is it that just, puts a smile on my face? But there's so much more to that. I believe there's a job, but then you have your career. And so the way I kind of guide my clients to finding out life purpose is through astrology. We can look at the different nodes that point, past life and current life, and human design, which is my absolute favorite. I'm like a total nerd about it. The human design tells us kind of like our different crosses. So our right angle or our left angle based off of our body graph, what we're here to do. And, there's so many different things in the chart with your gates and your channels that tells a lot about your personality and how you are supposed to show up in the world and what will fulfill you the most. Because what fulfills you the most might not always make you the most money. But when you're doing something from a place of love and authenticity, then you'll never have to worry. You'll be in alignment and you'll be completely taken care of. So yeah, there's a lot of ways that we can find out what it is we're supposed to do. It's not as hard as it seems.
And it can be really fun. I think that's another thing too. So fun. It can be fun, learning something new about yourself and focusing energies ultimately, outside of ourselves for the greater good is a really fun way to learn how to have more clarity in your own life. Coming out of such a time of separation from everyone else. And I'm sure everyone watching, if you're watching my channel today, you've done all the inner work, you've done all the reading, you've done all the self-help,
all the things.
All the things, and you're looking for those next steps. So certainly I hope you're getting some good messages here today is what you probably needed to know. I do want to work with you, Nicole, on sending everybody some super frequencies
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I think that'll be fun. This will carry everyone through the next 2 weeks. Of course, every week a new session will come out, so I'll keep refining and honing. But we know that words carry an energetic imprint.
Sure.
And so in this way, we're going to be sharing some positive energy. There's some prompts in here, but we can type them in too. So I love to send abundance and prosperity.
So sweet.
To everybody. And it means something different to everyone, abundance, right?
Yeah, abundance isn't just, financial abundance, So I think people get confused with that. So
yes, yeah, getting in that energy of abundance, being able to receive abundance. But as we talked about the energy and this unstable energy that we're in right now, I feel it's important to send grounding energy.
Love that. Just loving. Love.
Just loving, yeah, love.
Just loving. I love love.
yeah, loving energy. And we're in Cancer season, right? So everybody's really extra watery, extra emotional right now.
Protection.
Yeah, protection. And courage to maybe courage and integrity, I feel.
Yeah.
Just because the masses don't agree with what you're doing right now doesn't mean you need to change. I would say adaptability came up several times.
Adaptability. And usually if you feel like you're being called to talk about something, to do something, even if it's not getting the feedback that you've hoped for, there's a reason for it. So I would say keep on, and look for those little cues you get throughout life. I mean, mine was through my patients saying, you should be a life coach. Sometimes they're the things that they're right in front of us. We just aren't. Yeah, awareness. Exactly.
Yep.
Look for those, what resonates.
I love that you mentioned that too. It's like this morning when we were walking around and you said you were like, I love bees. Like they're one of my totem animals. And like we saw
bees show up. We saw like 3 bees.
Right.
Yeah. Bees show up everywhere for me. And I made that connection because they're like my totem animal. And there's, different meanings to the different animals, but I was always like scared of bees, but I always loved them at the same time, which was, because I love what they do. And they would just show up in the most random places. Like one was in my house one day, just in front of my face. Like, how did you get in here? But yeah, so that was really cool that we saw that today.
Yeah. I like that too. And I like that, this is a beautiful journey. Beauty came up in our session today. I feel like just being able to sustain, it's going to be sustainability. Yeah. Doesn't matter if I misspell because I don't think there's like a spell check.
No,
it's
you and I have made up words. We've made up words, right? That we just don't even know if they're a word, but they are.
So I feel that's pretty comprehensive. Am I leaving any energies out that could serve us at this time?
I just feel like health.
Yeah.
Is a big thing. I feel called to say health, someone out there, someone watching. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, remembering that we're shifting from the energy of following into the wanderer. So these are big traveling ideas. So in terms of Feng Shui, if I were to recommend a Feng Shui tip or activation, let me stop sharing that so I can see if I can find an example. So as we're talking about Feng Shui, there are areas that you can activate at this time. And I feel like the area of travel and helpful people is significant. So this is an energy template that I got from online. So this is not my picture, by the way, everybody. So, but it's the Bagua energy grid that we use in Feng Shui. If you were to apply this grid to your house or to your office or any room, any surface, the bottom 3 squares here, you're going to have an entrance into one of these, which is your mouth of Qi. So you want to make sure that if it's your front door, that it's not blocked and it's attractive and welcoming, and you're not going to trip over shoes, for example. But when you come in the front right room or front right section of your house, that if you were to divide it in 3s, is the area that contains your travel and helpful people energy. And that came up a lot in today's session. So this area should contain a lot of metal element. And now the metal can show up in terms of actual metal, or it could be colors like white or gray. Any of the metallics, gold, for example, would work in here as well. And so the dominant feeling, the dominant energy should be metal. If you don't see any metal, it needs to be added in. If it is, if you already have a lot of metal and you want to create that metal energy without adding in another metal object, then what creates metal is earth. So earth creates and activates that metal. So you could bring in a crystal, you could bring in a salt rock lamp if that represents earth to you, into the space, and with intention to call upon your travel and helpful people energy. That could be networking, that could be alliances, it could be calling in your most helpful guides or angels, on, you know, whether they're here with us or passed over. So calling in this energy of the people that are going to help you with this goal that you have. And if it's even better, if you're looking for your mentors, and really just delve into that idea of getting others to join you in that and following the idea that you have in this goal, whether you're trying to persuade someone or teach the masses or whatever that may be. And we're going to start there with within this energy, really get that area feeling nice. Make sure you don't have you're not collecting anything that could stagnate the energy, like old mail or something broken would be bad to have in that area. And so when we place something with intention to activate an area, we want to visualize what we're trying to achieve as if we are already receiving it, getting in that energy. And then we want to vocalize our desires. It could be in the form of a mantra, and then repeating it 9 times, 9 meaning completion in Feng Shui. And just make it, you don't have to say it out loud or loud in this practice, but it could be something private for yourself. But the idea is to imprint that energy, to activate it. And it's a lot of people reference, you know, it was referenced today when we were at our networking meeting. Someone referenced Marie Diamond, and she's famous for talking about the idea of your home being your vision board. So really stoke that vision. And so that's, you know, that's the Feng Shui tip for this. And Nicole, do you have any last words for everybody? Anyone watching? And certainly we're going to put your information on how they can reach out to you in my link and also in the comments. But any last words?
I would say on my side of things, really focusing on your solar plexus center, because our solar plexus, which is in our belly region, has everything to do with our self-identity, our self-esteem, our self-worth. So the more that we can balance that and step into who we are as our true self and be confident with that, that's when we can be confident with what we're here to do, how we can communicate best. And the strength of that radiates all the way up to the throat. Those two go hand in hand. So that'll help a lot. So that's my advice, is working with the solar plexus and obviously diving into the human design as well.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again today.
This was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We should do it again. And Nicole, you're going to have your own YouTube channel as well, so we can join forces and more. I'll be sharing this with you so you can host it on your channel. And if there's anything that you at home would like to hear more from me and Nicole, let us know, because I think this is the first of many times that we'll be collaborating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, excellent. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to ask that you hang on, but I'm going to let everyone watching go about their day. But I again thank you everyone for stopping by for this session and hanging out.
Thank you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thank you in advance for liking and sharing and subscribing. And you can connect with me in the link in my bio and description and see all the ways that you can connect with me and with Nicole and really delve more into your own personal goal. You can reach out to us if you need more personal support. And I will see you next time. Many blessings
Yay.
times 9. Yay.
Thank you guys.
Thanks. See if I